Hey there, and welcome to the Weed Out, where we weed out the nonsense and sort out the ghoulery in our backyard. As always, I'm Spencer Fox Peterson, mangling the intro, along as always with my partner.
Hi everyone, I'm Joanna Mayboody.
This week, we are going to focus on some good news regarding going back to our conversation about union organizing a few episodes back. We have some tangible news to give out, and it's regarding the Lady Killigrew Cafe in Montague, Massachusetts. It's up in the Book Mill building. It's a historic building. It's a wonderful cafe. It's been there a long time. Montague is Joanna's neck of the woods, so she took over the interview this week, and she spoke with a representative, Artemis Duffy, and they are one of 8 that voted to unionize. And I won't get into too many details, and I'll let the interview speak for itself. But just wanted to say, like, here at the Weed Out, I know I focus on ghoulery, but normally at the Weed Out, we're pretty negative. Well, I'm pretty cynical and negative. I know Joanna disagrees with me, and it's hard not to see problems. It's hard not to see the issues, and I just think it's really important that we platform good news. So this is a story of triumph. This is people organizing. This is democracy at work. This is how we can make our communities better. This is tangible steps, and this isn't the end step for people that are organizing in their workplace, but it's a step in the right direction. These people will hopefully get their needs met. They'll have a coalition, and ultimately the business will probably do better because of it, because the staff is that much more reliant on one another. That means the staff won't turn over and people won't have to move on to survive. So ultimately, it in the long term, it is for the best of the business. And we need to get away from short-sightedness. We need to live sustainable lives. So this is great. It's great news. I'm glad to be able to share it with you all. So again, Joanna, any final thoughts before we jump into your interview with Artemis?
I just was really excited to get to speak with Artemis from Lady Killigrew because it is part of my community. And I had heard rumblings, but then I got an email from a union organizer because I'm a union member. And he's retired now, but he obviously is interested in what's going on in the community. So it's just, like you said, really good news. And I think Artemis has a lot of good information for people who haven't maybe unionized or even talked about this in their workplace before. So yeah, we can just let them speak for themselves.
Yeah, my name is Artemis. I use he, they pronoun. I am one of 8 staff workers at the Lady K. And in the union, I think we haven't dispersed roles yet. We're still deciding who's going to be steward and stuff like that. I was just part of as was everyone, like the initial conversations and like how we like moved towards finding which union to reach out to. I think it was me and a couple other people that made the initial call, but like it was everyone putting in like their own ideas for why this would be a good idea when we had initial meeting. And initial meetings, I feel like were happening, I want to say it was September.
Okay.
When we first started, like late September, early October, probably when we first started like meeting about it and talking about it in terms of like being like, is this a good idea? Like, why would we do this? What are the things that we would want to gain from this? How could this benefit the Lady K and future workers and us,
How many members are there in the union then?
So you mean for
Like for you at Lady K, like how many members will there be total?
8? So it was a unanimous vote. It was 8-0. So all the like eligible voting members, so anyone that didn't have hiring or firing capabilities, voted, and we all voted yes. So that's really exciting.
That is really exciting. And it's not always unanimous, so that's fantastic.
It isn't. Yeah, I was really hoping that it would be, because I feel like I think it's okay if you have like a larger staff when it's not unanimous, but because there's 8 of us, I think, at least for me individually, it felt important that everyone felt like this is the right step moving forward, and that we all like are excited about it and that it feels good. I think I know votes can go through even though it's not unanimous, but I know we're all really close. I think like we're a team and we have been talking very openly and we all really love like where we work. So I think it felt really meaningful to me anyway that it was unanimous.
I wonder, how did management, if you were able to talk about, like, how did management or ownership or both roles react to this move?
I think we want to focus a little less on that, not because it's inherently negative, but because I think it's like a growing process, growing pains for anyone. And I think I honestly didn't talk to any management or like I didn't have any meetings with management or like the direct boss at all. I know some people did, but because I was hired probably in June, yeah, June or July. I don't know why actually, but I didn't have any meetings with them. So I think potentially if you spoke with some of the people that talk with them directly, that might have like a different reaction. But I think there's the general like nervousness of like how this is gonna go, like how we all move forward or whatever else. But yeah, other than that, I don't really have much to say.
That's okay. It's just one of those things I just, I figured people may wonder about, but I also know it's also a hard thing to sometimes talk about because those are the people that you're negotiating with, and when it comes down to the contracts and things like that.
Exactly.
So I wonder, I guess, just for people locally, because I mentioned, I feel like this is such an inspirational story, just like when Trader Joe's unionized, like every little every small business, or for Trader Joe's, I feel like that's even a larger group, I think really gives people hope here, because it's not just these large companies that you have to work for to become involved in a union. And I think, I guess, what advice do you have for other food service workers, specifically in the area, if they are planning and would like to get involved in just understanding the union movement or get involved in planning unions within their establishments?
Yeah, I mean, actually, we were really, I think, inspired by the Trader Joe's unionizing. I know they're still negotiating, and everywhere's still negotiating because negotiating takes forever. But like, I think seeing that happen, I think one of our staff members literally worked at Trader Joe's and was like there in the preliminary part of that like thing. And I think I was also inspired because of a push to unionize at another local business that I'm not going to name that my partner worked at, who was trying to unionize there. And I think I really do feel like every small or big business that makes the staff that makes the move to self-organize is really empowering, because I think we do have a lot of power. I think the biggest benefit of unionizing is having having bargaining power, having like a seat at the table, right? And like I think there's a misconception that unionizing is only good for like big companies, like that it's only good if you're like being terribly, terribly exploited. And in those cases, it obviously really, really is. And that is valid, but I think more so like unionizing provides an equitable voice, like a direct pathway to having your concerns heard, knowing that they're going to be heard without retaliation, accountability. And it, I think, can also provide a lot of unity with like a group of people that are like, I do this job, I have a say in what this job looks like, what the working conditions look like, what like maybe pay or vacation or sick leave or disciplinary action looks like. And like I don't have to feel like intimidated by differences in power or whatever else. And I think that, just to say that, I know that's not directly related to the question, but I think just saying that unionizing is it can be such a powerful thing for any size of a company. And like, it is possible for practically anyone to do. So like starting there and being like, even if you're like, oh, like I don't even know how that would benefit us, or I don't even know like where to get started, like if people are interested in unionizing, looking up your local unions based on the trade that you're in, like, you know, service, labor, if you're in construction or production or whatever else, there are so many different unions really. Like we are now being like, not, it hasn't been ratified yet, but we are going to be represented by UFCW, Local 1459. Like they're representing like a lot of food workers. They're also representing like bus drivers in I think the Holyoke area. I think they're also representing like the Mount Holyoke's grad student union that's recently been formed. So like awesome things like that. Just knowing that you can like just look up what is in your area, looking up union representatives. But I think even if you don't end up doing it, you can have a meeting with a union representative and hear like what could benefits be for having the ability to do collective bargaining. You might decide that that's not what works for you or not what would be best for your team. But I think even having the initial meeting can be really important, being like, how do we want to shape the places that we work? And just having a good, transparent, collective like communication, because I think negotiations do take a long time, right? And like bosses or management or whatever else can be really like manipulative or coercive or whatever. I'm not saying that that's what happened with us, but like it can be. So knowing that like you have the collective power and the collective like camaraderie to be able to like rely on each other, communicate transparently, know where everyone's at, know that it's okay to like be like I'm expressing doubts because like these things have been happening, or I'm expressing doubts because I don't know if this actually would be what's best for like our company or whatever else. Like it's so much better to be able to have transparent communication between the team members and the union representative than it is for anything else. And I think that is what made a lot of people on our team and me feel super good about what it is we're doing. Like I said, it's not always going to be a unanimous vote or whatever, but if it can be, I think it's mostly possible because you guys are organizing together, communicating transparently, respecting everyone's point of view, and like asking questions, remaining curious, and exercising your collective power. Like it's totally possible. I think that's like what is important. It's possible, and it is awesome to have a seat at the table for where it is you're working. We should all be able to work places that feel like they're listening to us. We have had like a hand in forming, and that if we feel passionate about it, if we really love where we're working, that like make it so that we can like live, you know, like living wage, pay vacation in our family, all of that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I totally agree. And I'm just so happy for all of you.
Thank you so much.
It's just wonderful to hear and see. I live here in Montague actually. So it's just exciting.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's just exciting. I was so inspired when Trader Joe's also formed the union. So I do hope that I'm not even hoping, I'm positive that you all have inspired even more people. And so I guess if there's anything else you want to say about the union forming or just how you feel in general about it.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I think the only other thing I would say is that it does mean a lot to have community support. It has been so nice that people have been reaching out and being like, yes, this is awesome, because the Lady K is such a local place. Like it is the cafe in Montague basically. And you know, we love working there. Working there is beautiful. It is such a beautiful place. People come there because it is gorgeous, and because we try to provide good service. But like it is like a very personal thing. We have regulars, we have like we talk to everyone who works at the book mill, everyone who comes in there. Like we have very one-on-one interactions with it. A lot of the time the people that are making the food are also bringing the food to people. A lot of the times like there are people that come back like I haven't been here in like 12 years. Like it looks so different in this way. It's so the same in this way. Do you guys still have this? No. Do you guys still have this? Yes. Like, and I think a big part of it is that it's a community thing. And I think like unionizing can be good for an entire community. Like if workers are happy and represented and, feeling feeling like vocal and empowered. That is good for everyone in the community. And it's been so awesome to see how many community members have been like, yes, that is good for you guys. That is something we're really happy about. Because like at the end of the day, we were all doing this because we want to make like working in general for cafe workers, for service workers, for ourselves, a sustainable, like livable thing. And it's like and have a say in like what our working life looks like. Because it is like a cafe that's open from 9 to 9 every day, 7 days a week, except for like 2 days a year. So we're out there, we're interacting with the community every single day. And it's important to us. So like it's yeah, I think I speak for everyone when I say like it's been so like amazing to have all the community support. There were people like showing up the day that we had the vote, like this past week, like with like cookies and like congratulations and like, you know, even before like we knew how the vote went, like and that's so sweet and like kind. So all that kindness, all that community, I think that's really what makes like um worker organizing so much more feasible, is just knowing that like the people that you're serving in general are behind you. The communities that you're implanted in and that value the service that you bring to them are behind you. Like that's huge. So looking forward to many more days of being in the area and moving forward in negotiations and whatever it looks like to continue serving in Montague for sure. Yeah.
That's fantastic. And good luck to all of you negotiating. You're right. They do take a long time sometimes, but I heard from someone in town, like I had heard a little bit of something, and then an older gentleman that I was on a union with before he retired emailed me to tell me. So you do definitely have community support, which is again fantastic to see. I think more and more people, it's not even like I think unions are just definitely more popular than ever before in the last few years. And it's wonderful to see, honestly, just across the whole nation, just the tiny little specks of things popping up and how it just spreads. And like you said, it's really community based, it feels like, and
Yeah.
you feel empowered by others. So thank you, Artemis, and your whole team for everything you've done for yourselves. And honestly, I feel like it is for the community because it helps everyone just have, like you said, a better place.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for talking with me. Yeah.
Of course, thank you for talking with me too. I hope you have a great day and a good weekend. Take care.
Yeah, you too.
Well, Joanna, thank you very much for taking the time, and to Artemis and the whole crew at Lady Killigrew, thank you for sharing your story with us and the audience. We are very grateful, and the trickle down, so to speak, effect is going to be a good one. The community seemed to support this. The community is more likely to keep their money going to that business. People will be more stable. They'll help be able to build their lives in the Montague area. And it seems small, but these are the political actions that must be taken. And not everybody has the same role in our society. It's about advocating for yourself, advocating for your family and your loved ones in your community. And this means organizing with your coworkers for better working conditions. This means when you have knowledge on a topic, or you have spent time researching a topic, say ShotSpotter and Holyoke, or dash cams and the cloud for aggregating all this data to a third party so that the government can then check it out. So if your community allows that, what are they going to do in a community like Holyoke, right? They're going to point to Northampton and say, look, they're doing it. We need to do that. So the small actions are stepping out and advocating. The small actions are when you see a business that you didn't think much of before, but you hear they're organizing, you start supporting them in any way that you can. If that just means telling their story, sharing this podcast, shopping there obviously is the most direct way, but you can share this story with your coworkers. You can share the story with your family members who are having issues at work. Hey, these people did this. You should listen to the Weed Out, or you should go read this news article. It's in the Shoestring, and maybe you can get some ideas. Maybe you'll get a contact there. These little actions are what build a better community, and it's wonderful to see it And that's why we're platforming it. Full transparency, that's why we're doing it. And we're trying to do our part so everybody can do theirs. And it's really just an amazing feeling seeing a win in a world where there's not a lot of wins. So congratulations to them. Joanna, I would love to hear your thoughts, since this was kind of your interview, and I would love to hear what you want to wrap up on that.
Thanks, Spence. It was my pleasure interviewing Artemis. There's a lot of local coverage, which I think is great. And like you said, the community support is really nice to see. They talked about getting inspiration from the Hadley and Trader Joe's when they saw that that worked out for that company. They figured maybe we could just start talking about it. So I totally call to action to everyone to at least just reach out and get information if you're interested at all in these types of organizing tactics within your workplace or your community. Collective bargaining is an awesome thing to have. And again, congratulations to the staff at Lady Killigrew and to our community for having this great thing happen. Again, it's really good news, and I hope it spreads throughout Franklin County. And I'm just excited to see and hear more in the future once they are able to kind of figure out their roles and get everything. I know it's a long process to kind of get everything together, if that makes sense.
And I just want to jump in, and I want to remind everybody, though this is a victory, it's just one. There's lots of victories, and unfortunately or fortunately, we shouldn't necessarily be framing this as victories. This isn't a battle. This is just good community. This should be the baseline. So let's strive for that. This is something to I do want to celebrate it, because, we need joy. Without joy, there's nothing to go forward. But let's not lose sight of the bigger issue. We have an economy. We need to raise the working class. If you're going to believe in this capitalist system, and I'll say this till the cows come home, and I've said this to my bosses, I've said this to everybody, you need to raise the tide. You need to raise the tide so all boats can rise. If people are barely covering their housing and their food, and there's stats saying over 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. They don't have a retirement plan. We have a federal government that is toying with the idea of sunsetting Social Security and Medicare. We need to fight for these things down on our local level so we can see it, so we can touch it, so people will then want to get behind the bigger causes. So this is important in the big picture. There's a reason to have joy, there's a reason to have hope, but we got to keep fighting. And you can't have a strong economy if people can't buy the extra stuff. In the capitalist endless profit scheme, you need a consumer class. So do you want to have a discussion about capitalism versus other systems of economy, or do you actually want capitalism to work? Because if you want capitalism to work, the workers need to be able to spend money on things they don't need. And if they don't have money to even cover the things they do need, there goes your economy. So let's be happy. Let's remember that the scaremongering, the scare tactics of big bosses, corporations, union busting, this is why we don't fuck with the cops. Their unions union bust other unions by force. So we have to be wary. Not all unions are created equal. They're still giant bureaucracies. This isn't a black and white issue, but this is about having a strong working class, and we need to fight for these things. And kudos to these people for fighting for us. And it's a representation of me. It makes me feel better about going to work, knowing other people are getting their shit taken care of. The money's staying in Montague because people can actually afford to live there, and the taxes are being paid to Montague. That's good for them. So let's take the win. I'm really happy that we get to share that with everybody. So again, thank you for tuning in as always. Any final thoughts, Joanna, before we wrap up the episode?
I'm just as excited as you are, I guess, about this. I feel like big win in a small area, because it's local, it's more exciting to me, I guess, than even when I hear that unions are overall more popular lately. I hope people just feel empowered as they see this happening more and more, workers banding together and coming up with ideas so that collective bargaining can be really the norm as we move forward. Because you mentioned like police officers, teachers, firefighters. A lot of people have these unions and collective bargaining options already built into their positions. So it's only fair if other working class get the same type of treatment. So yeah, I think it's just exciting, and I hope everyone enjoyed, and take care.
Yeah, I know we're wrapping up the episode, but I do have one. You reminded me of something, and I didn't get to it with the cop union mention, because I'll admit to the audience and to anybody that's my friend, I go straight for cops because I just don't I don't know, like my mind goes red. I think about the violence they get to do. So just to give the audience an understanding of like why my brain goes there, because I just think of the physical violence first, and that is the scariest because you can end lives extrajudicially. And the fact that cop unions are very strong, and then that's also oddly used as a reason not to unionize, because they're also one of the bad examples of a bureaucracy gone wild. We have to remember how the whole system works together. So of course that union's going to be strong. The state needs to impose violence. That's just it. So of course they're going to protect that union's going to be in cahoots with lawmakers and legislation, policy, etc. So of course we have a criminal state. Like that's just the end of the story. 25% of the world's population, incarcerated, with only 5% of the world's total population. So it does all come down to working class solidarity. And if we have more democracy in the workplace and in communities, it lessens the ability of these bad bureaucracies, because then when we have larger coalitions that are actually organized. So let's remember that this is a shot across the bow to the union busting cops and to the union busting entities that exist out there, because eventually the floodgates will open, and their consolidated power can't handle a coalition of a bunch of people that are organized. So this is revolution, and it's great, and it's not bloody per se. We do want to avoid violence, right? So this is a win. Take it as a win in the revolution. And also just to color why I get so itchy about cops. And I have a clear bias there. I don't know, maybe some people listen to this and just think, oh, that's his shtick. No, I just got a problem with bullies. Like end of the day, that's what I have a problem with. And these guys are mostly C students who are willing to be class traders for a little extra money. And maybe they're not even thinking critically about it, because our education system doesn't teach people to be critical. But that's why we're here having these conversations. So thank you for listening to the Weed Out. Thank you for the crew over at Lady Killigrew for being revolutionary and being bold. And they deserve that recognition. So that's what this episode's all about. And that's it. We'll see you next week. Same time, same channel. Appreciate you all, and take care.